I think for me, I look at it as no one forced Harry Kane to sign a 6-year contract at 25 years of age. That's basically committing your best years to the club, till 31. No one forced him to sign that contract. So to not win the trophies that he wants to win at Spurs, you can't just then think to yourself, okay, I want to jump ship. I want to force through a move and move to a club where I will win trophies. Because the three finals that Harry Kane's played in, he hasn't turned up. The game against Liverpool in the Champions League, yes, he might have been injured, but he didn't turn up in that game. The Manchester City game, the Carabao Cup in the final, he didn't turn up in that game. So if I'm Daniel Levy, Nuno Santo, if I'm the Spurs players, I'm expecting a big apology from Harry Kane, and I'm expecting him to come back, get fit, and get back into the team and win them trophies with Spurs.
When he signed that contract, it was 2018, so Spurs were a top four side, and they were under Maurizio Pochettino. They were going into their brand new stadium. They made the Champions League final the next season. You could forgive him for at that time thinking that the club has ambitions, and then when it started to fall away, you can almost understand why he's kind of thinking, right, well, I'm not getting any younger. I want to go and win things. But you're right, Gabby, you sign a contract and you have to honour it unless there's a way out of it. Did he make a mistake by signing such a lengthy contract?
Yeah, I don't see the problem in signing a lengthy contract, but most agents will put in a release clause. Okay, then we're going to sign a 6-year contract. We know that Daniel Levy likes to have leverage on players and hold them to long contracts, but put a release clause in there for 100 million, 120 million, because you might think to yourself, okay, what if it doesn't work out here? I can then get a move. So maybe he has to have the blame with his agent.
And his agent is his brother, isn't it, Ali?
I know. That's what I said to Harry when Harry Redknapp was on. Jack Grealish seemingly had it in his contract, and they're pretty common nowadays, Gabby. You know that's what they'll put in the contract. But I'm totally with Gab. I can't believe when the headlines today in the paper, Harry Kane turns up for training. I mean, that's almost laughable. That is what they're effectively saying. Back page headline: Harry Kane decides to turn up for his work. I mean, that's what people do up and down the country.
Yeah.
You know, that's what happens. So that in itself isn't the story that he's decided to turn up for work. Where I do have sympathy for Harry, because I don't know Harry, but you know how you get a sense you can judge people's character. I think he's absolutely, meticulous in his love for Spurs and the service he's given Spurs, and he probably has had an agreement that's allowed him to stay away for a little bit, extra. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't see Harry Kane as being the person not to turn up for training if he's supposed to turn up for training. So, but I can see it from both angles. Obviously, Daniel Levy is 100% well within his rights to get top dollar or what he believes is the correct price for Harry Kane. I think the mistake that probably Harry and his agent and his brother have made is perhaps, as Gab says, not getting that release.
But Ali, if I'm Daniel Levy, I'm not selling him. Why would you sell your best player?
Well, I'll tell you why, Gab.
You're not gonna get into the top four. So the
No.
120 million you're gonna get, you're not gonna be able to replace him. I mean, Martinez from Inter has already turned down Spurs. Players don't want to come to Spurs, so you sell Harry Kane. What do you do then? You end up probably finishing 8th, 9th.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I think, I'll be honest with you, mate, I think if they keep Harry Kane and even make a couple of signings, I don't see them breaking into top four, mate, to be honest with you. That would clearly depend on the signings, but you know the point I'm trying to make. But what I'm saying about Daniel Levy is, I can understand him taking it, because the reason being, Harry Kane, you might hang on and get 135 million pound for Harry Kane. Next year that 135's 70, and the year after that it's 30.
Yeah.
So I can understand them taking money from a business sense, thinking, now is the only time that we are going to get top dollar for Harry Kane. I definitely agree with you. It clearly weakens Tottenham as a team and as a squad, without doubt. But in terms of finance into the club and perhaps giving Nuno an opportunity to spend some and rebuild, that's the decision that Daniel Levy has got to make.
You know exactly what will happen though, don't you, Ali, if they sold him? Imagine how much they're going to have to pay for players.
Yeah.
They could get an average striker and it might cost them 50 million. Yeah, I think it's difficult, isn't it? Because it's very common now with players, giving their family members jobs. But I'm sure a more experienced agent at that time, one of the best strikers in the Premier League, you would put in a release clause. I mean, a lot of players have it in their contracts now. And we wouldn't be talking about this now. We'd be talking about Harry Kane has moved to Manchester City. They've met his release clause. Spurs fans love him for what he's done for the club. And it would have been nice and smooth. Now, there's Spurs fans that, even if Harry Kane comes back and plays them this season, they'll forgive, but will they forget? I don't think they will.
What about the coverage? Because I think that this is always going to be a story. He's one of the best strikers in the world. He wants to leave his boyhood club. Manchester City, the current champions, are the team that want him. And the price tag is absolutely huge. So if you think that this isn't going to make the headlines every day until it's resolved in some fashion, you're living on the wrong planet. It just is. And it's going to be something that we are obviously going to talk about as well, because there is a lot of public interest in this. But I was interested in the fashion that it gets reported as well, because it's not, I don't think, been overly negative towards Harry Kane, I have to be honest. And at the weekend we were watching Super Sunday, and there was a big conversation between Graham Souness and Micah Richards, and Micah called out the fact that he feels that, you know what, if this was a Paul Pogba, he hasn't even asked publicly to leave Manchester United, but still gets treated with a certain level of criticism and disdain, versus Harry Kane, who we discussed, saying, ultimate professional, this is unlike him.
Yeah, I think Meeks made a great point, and if this was Paul Pogba and he was away in the Caribbean on holiday, I think Gary Neville, Roy Keane would have got on a plane and would have been looking for him in the hotels, wherever he was staying, to bring him back. But I think because it's Harry Kane, national hero, you know, he's Mr. England captain, he gets away with it a lot more, and there's been no ex-players with Spurs coming out and saying that he's in the wrong. All you hear is, oh, you know, he deserves to go and win trophies. Well, why not win trophies with the boyhood club who give you a chance in the academy, give you your debut, give you the lucrative contract,
There's
the
a
highest
difference,
paid
so-
ever played player for Spurs?
talkSPORT Breakfast with Laura Woods, Monday to Wednesday mornings 6 till 10. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.